Hey everybody, this is Larry, and I want to talk to you about some real travel issues, some real travel hiccups. These are some problems I encountered while traveling. Sometimes they were related to stupidity, personal preferences, and sometimes just down and out, racism or discrimination or the like. So here it goes. Here are some instances I want to talk about. Some real travel hiccups. All right. Um, I'll start off with Peru. I was riding the train. It's not a subway. It's an above ground train. I don't know if it goes underground, so I won't call it a subway, but it's the train, the metro that they have in Peru, and I stood out, of course, because I don't look Peruvian. And as I was exiting the turnstiles, the police were there, and they just picked me out of the crowd and said, "Come here," and they said, "Passport," and I didn't have my passport on me, and I was so afraid that I was just being profiled. Like, okay, what's the game? Which one is not like the others? There it is, or there he is. Let's pick him. I was so afraid because that was 2015. I think that was around the time when Sandra Bland lost her life in America. So I was just like, oh my gosh, they are just picking on us. Um, so they asked for my passport, which I didn't have. It was in my hotel room. And luckily, yo hablo español un poquito. Y en ese momento traté de explanar mis circunstancias. Um, yeah, so I did have my passport card. They sort of ran numbers or whatever in their computer, and then they were sufficiently satisfied that I wasn't, going to cause any problems or whatever, and they let me go. And I walked or ran my happy ass out of there because I was like, whoo, that was scary. They don't play. They don't play. And that was in Peru. All right. Um, Another South American country or Central American was Costa Rica. All right. I went to Costa Rica in 2018, and I was having a great time. And I went to a local store, a local restaurant, and in addition to serving food, they also did laundry. And I went to have my laundry done regularly. I stayed in Costa Rica for 3 weeks, and I would go to this one place regularly to eat and to do my laundry. And I was developing a relationship, with the staff. Well, I guess one day when I asked to drop off my laundry, it was revealed to me that the woman whom I had seen, almost every day there, didn't know my name, and instead of asking my name, she just assumed, well, he's the only black guy, black customer we see here, so we're just gonna write Moreno on his laundry. So that became that's what they knew me by, Moreno. So I got my I submitted I gave them my laundry, and then I got it back with Moreno written on it, like, oh, so that's all they see when they see me. They don't, they're too busy to learn my name, and they just call me Black, you know. Um, of course, people will want to explain these Latin American diminutives like ita, cubanita, morenita, morenito, and as if to say, oh, that's cute or whatever. Yes, that's cute, and there should be no offense, taken. However, well, they didn't use a diminutive with me. It wasn't morenito. It was moreno, and it just didn't sit well with me. Even if that's your culture, and you're just like, oh yeah, but we didn't mean anything by it. It's still like, really? So that was a little travel hiccup in Costa Rica. But the cool thing about Costa Rica, I mean, I'm getting into race here, and is the Costa Rican history said that the nation tried to present itself as very white. And if you go to Costa Rica, you will see very fair skinned, Latinos, um, or Costa Ricans, Costa Ricanos. Well, there's a statue. I forgot the name of the gentleman, but there's a statue in near the center, town center, and there is a very famous soldier, Costa Rican soldier who was a black man, and the statue, um, his when you look at the statue and when you look at him, it's noticeable. You can see his African features. You can see it's apparent his Africanness, and he is a very proud figure, or a figure of pride for the Costa Rican people. So when I saw that, I said, "Ooh, these people know. They know the deal. They know the real. So don't trip on them. Just. But just being called Moreno did not sit well with me. I was in Panama, and I was on a bus in Panama, and I was traveling with a white uh, a white guy. We were headed in the same direction. We just happened to be on the bus together, and we became fast friends, as they say. We were talking and everything. And when we got to the border, excuse me, we met in Costa Rica, because we were leaving to go to, where were we going? We were going to Panama, leaving Costa Rica and going to Panama, and we were riding the same bus together. Well, we got to the border between Costa Rica and Panama, and the customs officials or whomever told him that he could enter without purchasing a return ticket or an onward travel ticket. But I had to purchase an onward travel ticket. They weren't going to allow me to enter the country without proof that I was continuing, that I wouldn't stay in Panama, that I was moving on. And the difference between him and myself was he showed his passport and tried to explain his situation, and there were a lot of stamps in his passport, and he said, maybe that's the reason why the Panamanians let him go. They said, "Oh, you're just traveling. We understand your situation. Go on." But in my case, um, the customs attendant was very adamant about not letting me in the country without purchasing a $24, onward bus ticket, onward travel ticket. Well, I had a passport full of stamps as well. And when I consulted this white guy who I was traveling with, or at least our journeys, paralleled each other for some time, I heard his story about, showing the passport. So I got the idea. Let me just show the customs official my passport and give him the same story. That guy just stonewalled me. He was stone faced me. He was like, you have to buy, um, a bus ticket. And I was like, whoa, there's no change in his mind. There's no way around it. I just have to, buy the ticket. And so there was another couple, and they were a white couple, and they were told that they had to do the same. They had to buy a ticket. So at least I felt that this wasn't a racist incident. This was just, they were just enforcing the rule, and that other guy got around it. But I couldn't help but think that, his race, and I mean, why did he get the nicer customs attendant? Just the luck of the draw, I suppose. I suppose. Well, I was also in Panama, and after that incident, I was riding the bus to my destination, to Panama City, and along the way, our bus stopped, and there were police. Um, it was a police search, or the policemen aborted our bus to check the passengers, to check to see if everyone was official. They came onto the bus and they gave this presentation as if they were going to check everyone's passports, and they were giving us this really official, like, yes, we're here to do our jobs. And what did they do? Well, they saw me, and I was sitting next to the only other black person on the bus. I suppose it was just him and I. We weren't friends, we were just sitting together. Why were we sitting together? Well, because earlier, when the other passengers got on the bus, they didn't want to sit next to me, and they just found other seats, on other parts of the bus. But the black passenger looked around and he said, "Well, I got to sit with, a brother, and he did that. When the police came onto the bus, they said, "We're checking for passports." They looked around the bus, and then they looked at us and they said, "You two, give me your passports." Now, I was like, okay, I'm an American. I don't expect to have any problems. All of my paperwork is in order. I'm just trying to get to my destination. My man next to me was Panamanian, and he was upset because he was like, "Hey," and he did this. He said, "What?" He was like, well, he looked at me and he was like, he explained something to me in Spanish which I didn't understand, but then he said he pointed, he was like, "Bruh, this is why. This is why they told us to show our passports." And I looked at him and I said, "Yes, you're right, bro. I understand. That's true. I'm with you." But I wasn't ready for the revolution. He was ready for the revolution right then and there. And he was like, "Let's do something." I was like, "Calm down, man. I'm just trying to get to my destination, bro. Calm down." So that was in Panama. I lived in South Korea for nearly a decade. And in South Korea, I had a number of travel hiccups and just, you know, injustices. That's how I felt them, felt that they were. I remember being in a taxi cab, and the taxi driver, Korean man, was standing outside where all of the taxis were lined up waiting for passengers. I hop into a taxi, and the window is cracked enough for, the air to blow or what have you. And this guy is standing outside, and he's watching me get in the car, and then he looks over at me and he says, "Hi, monkey." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "You don't know me, man. You gonna call me a monkey?" I'm like, "Oh, hell no." So that was just a rude, um, taxi driver. But there's a racial connotation there because, often you hear that, you know. Why is it that the jerks, um, the racist jerks want to, talk about, or talk about monkeys? Why do they want to bring that up? I don't. So that's one thing that happened. Another thing, in Korea, I was teaching a lesson. I was teaching a class at a university, and at some point, I was using my external hard drive, through my USB, and the external hard drive failed. The file was corrupt, and I didn't know this prior to beginning my lesson. So as I'm getting into my lesson, I discovered this, and pretty much I have to stop my lesson and I have to, switch gears. When I encountered this problem, I had this Korean kid in the front row. Now, I might have been mistaken, but I could have sworn when I ran into this problem in front of the classroom, I heard him just say, "Black people." I stopped. I was like, what did I hear? And I was like, in that moment, I wanted to stop my class altogether, but I was stuck between, what did I just hear? Wait a minute, I've got to fix this so I can go on with my lesson. So it was a difficult situation, but it really made me think, like, oh my gosh, is this what they think? They think that we're unprepared and that we cannot handle, difficulties, like technical difficulties at that. It happens. I've seen it happen, and most recently, I was watching an Apple um, presentation for Apple, and the technology failed, and I didn't hear any. Oh my gosh, these people! I didn't hear anything like that. But I got it in that classroom. And maybe I could have been mistaken, but it sounded a whole lot like black people. Yeah. And then the other thing, in South Korea, I wanted things to go a lot smoother than they went usually, and dating in South Korea was really difficult. Hooking up was really easy, but dating and taking things serious and building relationships, and that was really difficult. But it seemed like all the white men were being chosen. The white guys were finding it pretty easy to find girlfriends. And I remember being at a bar and seeing like the ugliest white dude with this Korean woman, a fairly attractive Korean woman herself, but with this ugly white dude. And she was looking at him like with starry eyes, like, "You're the most handsome guy. You look like Brad Pitt. You're just so." And I was like, this is just bananas. Um, and it was too much of an injustice just to see that these women were just choosing these white men just because they were white. And this brings me to a thought that I had recently. I remember listening to Dreams of My Father, the book authored by President Barack Obama. And in it, there's a conversation between President Obama and one of his friends. And I believe they were in college at the time, or maybe it was high school. And the gentleman was telling President Obama, saying, "I want to date these women, but they don't want to date me, and I think it's because I'm black." Well, President Obama's retort was, "It's probably not because you're black. It's probably because these women want men who look like their fathers." And I thought about that, and I said, yeah, that could be possible. And for a number of years, I just let that go. Like, yeah, he's right. They just want, you know, men who look like their fathers. But when I think about it, I don't agree with that at all. No, it's outright discrimination and racism, because how do these white men favor, or how do these white men look like these Asian women? Because these Asian women are choosing these white men, you know? So, yeah, I don't think that's what it is at all. I think it is racism, and it is just discrimination. And you can see it. You can see it in their marketing. You can see it in their media. You know, but again, it's white supremacy, and that's just a fact of life. Um, yeah. All right. So as I traveled the globe, these are encounters that I've had with, just the silly things that you have to deal with as a traveler, as a black traveler, as a, you know, it's just some of the things you have to deal with. Those are my thoughts. All right, peace.